to have occurred with the engine core spin behavior AIB describes could have happened between 8:08:45 to 8:08:50 UTC. That's a 5 millisecond timeline. If the relight happened at that timestamp, then FADEC could initiate a relight only if the fuel switches were in run for that time period. If the fuel switches were in run, it also proved that neither Captain Sumit or the first officer's hands were anywhere near the fuel control switches for the first 11 seconds after takeoff. The reality of turbofan physics and GE engineering proves crew innocence on AI 171. So the conclusion of this report, Group Captain Devnath, is that you cannot blame the captains for having made the fuel switch go to cutoff.
Definitely, Uday, the fuel shutoff valve, if no captain, even by mistake, or co-pilot, even by mistake, will touch fuel shutoff valve. Once the fuel shut at the time of start, it is put onto a on position. See, it is a gated switch. One has to lift it and then move it forward. And once the engine starts, then no captain will bring it back to cutoff position. Because to bring it back to cutoff position, again, there is a mechanical restriction. One has to lift it and then move it backward. Now, can this be done erroneously under any circumstances? Very, very rare. Uday, Boeing 787 has been now flying for years, and hundreds of Boeing 787 are flying around. Incidentally, Uday, similar fuel shutoff switch is utilized in most of the Boeing models, like Boeing 767, Boeing 777, and pilots have or engineering crew have never reported an incident where it has got shut down so easily. Nevertheless, during simulation, if a pilot decides to shut it off in a very, very deliberate action, you see, I am talking from pilots. What I'm trying to say is we have to take into view the emotional points from pilots community, also the engineering community, also the passengers, their relatives. But suppose if a pilot has to shut it off, he has to do a very, very deliberate action to switch it off. He just by casual touching or it gets.
Okay, I think we've lost
Switched off so easily.
All right, the Caravan report further states that realistically speaking, at that altitude, there was no chance for survival. With dual engine failure, what's chilling though is not just automation initiating the disaster, but also refusing the first officer's command to relight when he was desperately trying. The hopes of everyone on the plane were riding on his shoulders. Midway into the 32-second flight, reality must have dawned on Captain Sumit and First Officer Clive, but they still rose to the occasion. They fought back, followed protocol, did everything humanly possible. So this is clearly a big flaw. Why relight was not allowed, was not initiated, despite the pilots desperately trying, Air Commodore Medirata?
Stable till the last moment when the Mayday call was given, and had there been a flat ground or the area where it could have landed or crash landed, there could have been some saviors also, even despite no relight and the engines not taking off again. So without power, of course, the engines will not work and the aircraft will go down in a few seconds, which it did. And we still cannot really say with authority with what exactly was tried by the pilots at that time in those 15 seconds.
Yes. Meanwhile, the Caravan's investigation has also broken nearly every timestamp in AIB's preliminary report. It was a short report with barely any information, but still the scant EAFR black box timestamp data it provided is now coming into question based on evidence.